nation. He is one of our national addresses and national constants because he represents all Eritrean fighters who fought bravely and with unparalleled devotion for long and hard 30 years of sacrifice and heroism. However, from time to time, some anonymous voices are heard who try to discredit and belittle our giant and hero, but all badly fail, because he is monumental and all his heroic deeds are well documented and lived by many people still alive who are eyewitnesses to this legendary leader and can tell their part of this history unhesitant with graphic details and accuracy.
His full name was Hamid Idris Awate Faidon Faid Mohammed Idris Abu Akka. Hamid Idris Awate is from the Beni Amer tribe of the Harafa section and from Nara from his mother's side.
Date of birth. He was born in 1910 in Gerset, 10th of April to the 28th of May 1962. He lived about 52 years according to a book written in Tigrinya, Tarur Hamid Idris Awate, 1915 to 1962 by Haile Selassie Waldu. Indicates that Hamid Awate was born around the year 1915 in Habarada, Mogharib, and not 1910. If this date is correct, it means Masha Awate lived for about 47 years only.
Place of birth. Garaset, a village between Tassanaya and Hajir, southwest Eritrea. However, Haile Selassie indicates that Hamid Awate was born around the year 1915 in Habarada.
Physical characteristics. Body slim, height 1.65 meters, eye and hair color black, eye size medium, skin color light whitened color with a visible scar between his index finger and thumb in one of his hands, and with 3 lines of facial scarring, sherbeti, on each cheek and long neck. Hamid was wide-shouldered, muscular upper body with slightly thin legs and a mustache, no beard. He spoke in a low voice and tone.
Awate was able to communicate with 8 languages: Tigray, Arabic, Nara, Daraba, Kunama, Tigrinya, Amharic, and Italian. However, in reading and writing, as well as correspondence, he used the Italian language. Awate was multilingual and familiar with Eritrean culture, and most of his languages and dialects.
Personal traits. He was a tactful visionary, acting with end in mind. He was a leader, man of integrity, courageous, charismatic. Multilingual, walked his talk, practiced what he preached. He was intelligent, simple, nationalist, dignified, honest, and magnanimous.
Hobbies and interests. Hamid Idris Awate from his childhood was well trained by his father in horse riding, chivalry, and use of arms, and he excelled in that. Hamid Idris Awate used to play rababa, especially at night, but not used to sing. He used to play basay and duksina type of music, and he was a good player. He liked to play shakur too. Hamid Awate did not use tobacco, as is common in the Sudan and lowlands in Eritrea. Instead, he used to smoke tobacco using pipe, known as Abu Kudos. It is used by Sudanese and is made of stone. He used to drink tea and coffee, and he had a passion for pipe smoking more than any other interest.
Family background. Awate was born to the Beni Amer Tigray-speaking Hafada in Gerset, located between Tessenay and Hajir in southwestern region of Eritrea, in the 10th of April 1910. Awate originates from a dignified and honorable Eritrean family, well respected in their village and the whole region around them. They were pious Muslim family who lived in peace and decent life with their people in the village. His father was a peasant, and the young Awate learned a lot of things from him and was strongly influenced by him. He became skillful at the use of arms at an early age and learned the oral history of Eritrea, as narrated to him by his father. Awate inherited from his father and his environment high moral standards and the culture of bravery, honesty, which gained him great respect by the people around him. He was a principled man of high morals and acted seriously and responsible in regards to his people and country due to his upbringing and education.
The Italian era, from 1890 to 1941. The Italian colonization of the Eritrea was marked with the highest possible exploitation of Eritrean people and land by the Italians. The Eritrean
Keep going.
conspired to serve in the Italian army and were used as fuel to protect the Italian occupation and to conquer new land for the colonizers. The young Awate in 1935 was conscripted to serve in the Italian colony army as was customary at the time. Thousands of Eritreans were forced to join the Italian army. Awate was sagaciousness, astute, and Awate was a sagest, astute, and acumen man, multilingual, and in a very short time learned the Italian language. His excellence and pronouns among his peers became apparent, which gained him respect and admiration by his superiors in the army. He was chosen among the best soldiers to go to Italy for training in the military of intelligence for 1 year. After Awate returned from Italy, Rome, in 1938, he enthusiastically formed a plague slowing cell to expose the Italian occupation of Eritrea. The resistance cell was formed for Eritrea soldiers who returned from Italy after their training there. After his return from Italy, he served several posts, amongst them in the Adabara post near Sudan, and after the end of World War II, he left the Italian army, went back to his village to live a simple and decent life with his people and family.
British era, 1941 to 1962. After the defeat of the Italians in World War II, Eritrea became a protectorate under the British military administration until its future to be decided by the United Nations, and the British Army started exerting their authority to all regions of Eritrea. It was a well-known fact that Awate was well known as a hero, and he was defending his people against attacks by the shifters coming from Sudan, Ethiopia, or parts of Eritrea who were looting and causing severe damages to the people of his region. His heroic defense and fight against the shifters was pronounced and greatly anticipated and counted upon because all the people expected his help and his protection. When the British Army was searching for arms in the region, they confiscated properties, killed cattle, and terrorized the local people in order to exert their authority. The behavior of the British soldiers angered the brave Awate who attacked them and killed one of their soldiers. Since that period, the relationship between Awate and the BMA was tense. They labelled him as a criminal and he was living as a fugitive who refused and opposed the British presence and occupation of Eritrea. The British, when discovered that Awate can cause severe damage to them, they tried to accommodate and make a peace or treaty with him but failed. Awate never acknowledged and accepted the BMA domination and behavior against the Eritrean people and their land. During the BMA period, Awate was closely monitoring the political situation in Eritrea and had contacts with several Eritrean key personalities, and his opposition and rejection of the British presence in Eritrea was clear.
The Ethiopian era. The Ethiopian occupation tried all possible means to stop the armed struggle from its birth, even before its declaration. They sent delegates to ask Awate to give up arms, promised Awate to grant high posts and money and all positive incentives. It was fruitless because the Martyr and hero Awate decided to wage a revolution by the use of arms. It became apparent and very clear to him the Ethiopian intentions were to occupy and enslave Eritrean people, and the Ethiopians' policy was to kill all Eritrean people if it was necessary to achieve their goal. They were interested in Eritrean land and sea, but not its people. However, the Ethiopian occupation authorities were not hopeless from their attempts to persuade Awate to reverse his opinion and to lay down arms and return to his village. Thus, they sent him a large delegation and dignitaries from his region in this regard. But his response was decisive when he told the delegation, "Tell those who sent you to modify and alter their opinion regarding the occupation of Eritrea. We will not retreat from the goal that the Eritrean people have chosen and announced by declaring the armed struggle. We are not bandits and war amateurs, but we demand freedom and we will endure all the difficulties from the sake to liberate the homeland." Thus, the armed struggle for dignity and freedom was declared on the 1st of September 1961 to mark one of the most significant dates in Eritrean history. Declaration of Eritrean armed struggle for freedom and independence by the leader Idris Awate and his 13 brave companions.
The leader and hero Awate, with his 13 brave companions, on the 1st of September 1961 at 9 o'clock in the morning, led the first battle against the Ethiopian occupation forces in Mount Adad. Here, the first shot was fired to declare the birth of the Eritrean people's armed struggle for independence and freedom. On the 1st of September 1961, corresponding to the Friday of 20th of Rabi' al-Awwal 1381 AH. Awate said to his companions, "Today the azanet, meaning the rifle, was pronounced, and the last link has been cut off between us and the occupier. From today onwards, there is no rest or sleep." Our modern political history started as peaceful and political struggles, and when it was discovered that it was futile, in vain and fruitless, the Eritrean people resorted to armed struggle to demand for their legitimate rights for liberation and independence. The freedom fighters, the prisoners, or the first generation of fighters who followed Awate to launch the armed struggles were 13 heroes, and they are Ahmed Muhammad Faid,
Ibrahim Muhammad Ali Qalhai,
Muhammad Gadir,
Awate Muhammad Faid,
Biariq Nouri Adam,
Muhammad Adam Hassan,
Saleh Muhammad Adam Giroj,
Ahmed Fikak,
Muhammad Al-Hassan Idris Dohan,
Adam Fagorai,
Ali Bakhit,
Idris Mahmoud,
Umar Muhammad Ali Karai.
The news of Awate going out of the mountains was a big surprise to the Ethiopian occupation authorities, who had never imagined for such a challenge to occur. Therefore, they immediately strived to contain the event by luring Awate by temptations with money and prestige, by sending him a letter in his regards by one of the members of Eritrean Parliament. Awate replied by writing a letter in Italian language where he said, "My rebellion by going to the mountains and raise up arms against the Ethiopian is only for the liberation of Eritrea and not for the personal gains or benefits." The Ethiopian occupation forces did not stop their pursuit to force Awate surrendering and retreat for his call in waging of armed struggles. They went to a great length and imprisoned several of his family members, including his pregnant wife, who gave birth to Tessanai to Karar Hamid Awate, his son of our hero and Maradi.
the first battle at Mount Adel against the Ethiopian colonial presence in Eritrea. It was a message to the world that the people of Eritrea were impatient and decided to restore their absurd legitimate rights by armed forces. In this battle, Awate and his colleagues were able to defeat the Ethiopian army and achieve a deserved military victory. In his first confrontation against the enemy forces, which lasted for about 6 hours, the outcome boosted the morale of the heroic fighters to continue the long and hard road to freedom and independence.
the first captive of the Eritrean armed struggle for liberation and independence. At the first battle of Mount Adal, on the morning of the 1st of September 1961, the first hero and fighter was captured by the enemy forces. He was the hero and fighter Biography Adam, who was martyred in one of the Ethiopian prisons in 1975.
The first martyr of the Eritrean armed struggle for liberation and independence. The second battle was Mount Omal on the 14th of September 1961, in which Eritrea lost its first martyr and hero, Abdul Muhammad Faid. In the third battle of Adal Hajj, the leader Awate was wounded in his arm. Following the victory achieved by the Eritrean Liberation Army in the Battle of Adal and Umal, the Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie issued his strict order to his armed forces in Eritrea to continue committing violence freely, which in practice means to commit crimes freely against the Eritrean people at large, in order to suppress the outlaws. To achieve their declared goals, the Ethiopian army mobilized more than 1,500 soldiers and began to plan the hit to the